the reason why you hate the
What's the reason
Celtics,
why?
I'm really trying to understand.
Oh, because they're a super team. I don't like super teams winning.
Did you didn't have any? You had what, one All NBA player on that, and there was a second team. That's a super
had
team.
2 All NBA defenders.
Oh,
Yeah, that matters. That matters.
you didn't have.
Matters.
I mean, Tatum was even your top 5 for MVP.
No, he was on the second team.
No, so he wasn't top 5 for MVP. One All NBA player, but it's a super team.
They could have
Guys
two.
you guys are built off of continuity and having 5 players in the lineup.
Why?
that are
Why don't
all-stars.
you accept
I don't
that
know,
you're a
it's a
super team though?
Because I don't think we're a super team.
There's a strong argument for you being a super team, but why not embrace it? Nothing wrong with having a super team.
I just don't think. I think we have one. I mean, legit MVP player for sure, but
Okay.
I don't think he's not even top 5 MVP candidate to a lot of players, and we don't have a secondary player who, when you look at some of the super teams in the past, KD, Clay, Steph.
You have a top 10 player, you have a top 25 player, you have a top 35 player in the KP, and then you have
Top
2
40 probably.
All
playing Drew over
NBA
there.
defenders with Drew and Derek White.
I just don't. I don't think the top end talent is as good as super teams in the past.
Oh no! Listen, when we have a super team of
I mean,
KD
I think,
and Steph,
yeah,
it's
Golden
hard.
State was just because their top 2 guys were just so much
Even
better
when
than
Bron
ask
and
you,
Wade first merged, they're not on the level.
Is the 2016 Warriors team a super team?
No.
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 Even though they had 73 wins?
No, they were not a super team.
Interesting.
They were a great team. They just won 73 games.
I don't know. Klay Thompson, wasn't he All-NBA? Draymond Green, All-NBA? Steph Curry, MVP, unanimous?
Yeah, but Clay
Andre
was like
Iguodala, one of the best role players?
yeah, you're trolling if you think that was a
I
super
said
team.
best role players.
That was
What?
not a super team.
You could argue it.
You had an MVP, you had an All NBA player, you had the defensive player of the year,
Yes.
and the bench. We cannot forget
That
how
was a
great
really
the
good
bench
bench.
was.
That was,
Sean
that was an
Livingston.
elite team.
Sean
Super
Livingston,
team?
Andre
Yes.
Iguodala off the bench.
So do you think
Andrew
this Boston
Bogut
team's
was
a
another
super
one. He
team?
just ended
Bogut.
up getting hurt. Harrison Barnes, solid player.
I don't think you have to have an abundance of top end talent to be a super team. You just have to have a great team.
I
Top
feel
to
like
bottom.
super team. You gotta have like 2.
Yeah, I don't
top
know. I
10
feel like you
type
have to be
dudes.
like damn near
locked top 10.
unstoppable.
Let me ask you a question. When the Warriors, obviously 2016, could you argue they had 3 top 20 players?
I don't think Clay was top 20, if I remember correctly.
When the Celtics
I would
got
go as
together-
far down as 25. 3 top 25 players.
Yeah.
That's still fringe super team.
When the Celtics
Was
had
they,
a
were they
super
a super team in 2015?
No,
Why?
because they hadn't accomplished anything yet.
But because they accomplished something, they're a
And
super
also,
team?
they played an
Draymond
injured
Green was
Cavaliers
as
team.
great as he was in 2015 and 2016.
No,
Clay was as
whoa,
great as he
whoa,
was in
Dre
2015.
was the same, as good 2015 as 2016.
Yes.
In that
2015
finals
he was elite.
against
2016 he was
in
also
the,
elite.
against the Cavaliers in the finals, he would have been Finals MVP.
Yeah, he was. Of course, he was better.
That's what I'm
2016,
saying.
But he was still great.
Of course he was.
Because people were arguing he should have won DPOY.
Here's the thing. We've seen what the Celtics have been able to accomplish. It's not like they're fresh on the scene. Here they are. Now they're champions. No, we've known about Jason Tatum. We've known about Jaylen Brown. Now they've added Kristaps Porzingis. We're very familiar with Kristaps. Here's the new kid, Derek White, who's really taken another step in his game. We know about Drew Holiday already. Like, these are players that have been stamped. You look at that 2015 Golden State Warriors team. Yes, Steph Curry was still a great player. They had playoff moments, but they weren't anything that teams were really fearing at that point in time. The Boston Celtics last year were favorites to win the whole thing. Going into 2015, if you said that at least my memory's not serving me that well, that going in, the Warriors were championship favorites, I wouldn't say so at all. You had just brought in Steve Kerr. You just fired Mark Jackson. I mean, how can you say going in you thought that this could be a super team?
Here's what
but
I'll say.
2016, they put it all together.
The Boston Celtics, when they got their big 3 together, KG was a top 10 player. Paul Pierce was fringe. He wasn't top 10 locked. And then you had Ray Allen, who at that point was still not a high-end all-star. He was more so going out of those years.
Yeah.
That was labeled as a super team.
That was a different time, though.
So what we're doing is that we're letting KD joining the Warriors recreate what a super team meant.
I don't think
originally.
nobody was calling 2016 a super team, though.
You guys won 73 games, though.
I think for the most part, a super team is made up of an MVP, 3 All-Star level
Would you
players.
call the Spurs that year a super team?
The year that they won?
No, 2016. You wouldn't even get. They won 67 games.
But they had Kawhi Leonard, who was their second best player in that year.
that was
LaMarcus Aldridge?
LA was
Okay,
still LA.
he was still good.
Would you call
but
but would you call them a super team because of how many games they won?
Absolutely not. That was a great team, though. An elite
And I think
team.
the Warriors were great. I don't think they were a super team.
I mean,
like,
bro,
I
you
still
had the
thought,
most wins in NBA history.
I still think OKC, which gave them a run for their money, was around. San Antonio was another team that was still. Yeah, we blitzed the league in the regular season, but I don't think they like
the super team.
Miami was called the super team because D Wade and
for
LeBron
sure.
were top 5
Absolutely.
players in
And
the world.
Chris Bosh was also top. You could argue top 10.
That's what I'm saying.
You
So
could argue.
that's the difference. I don't know.
So in 16-17,
Super teams can get beat.
They had
We've seen
Kawhi.
that. The Rockets won 7 games with that best team ever.
yeah,
What team?
The Golden State
the
Warriors.
Warriors with KD.
Oh, they were in the super team, though.
No, the KD Warriors were a super team.
Oh, yes.
My
yes.
point being, I'm saying super teams can get beat.
Yeah.
So in 16-17, the
They
Spurs
didn't in
had
that situation, but you know.
Kawhi, Aldridge, Paul Gasol, Tony Parker, Patty Mills, Ginobili, Danny Green.
That's just a great team spearheaded
That is
by
a great team.
player.
Absolutely. And Kawhi took that next step in his game.
And the 67 win team was Kawhi, it was LaMarcus Aldridge, Tony Parker, Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Patty Mills, Danny Green,
Would you ever label
Boris Diaw.
the 07 Spurs as a super team?
Shit, man. You could make that argument too.
I definitely think that the Spurs that beat the Heat are super teams.
2012, 2013?
Yeah.
They don't have a single
'cause-
All-NBA player.
But it's Tim Duncan, it's Parker, it's Ginobili,
See,
it's Kawhi.
I think
Didn't
we're changing
Kawhi
the
win
definition-
Defensive Player of the Year in 2014? Am I tripping? Was it 2014 that he won his first
I think
one?
something like that.
I don't know the exact year.
But that was the year that they won the championship. That was the year that he was finals
It was a
MVP.
great team.
Let me know if I'm wrong.
Were they even favored in that series?
I
I think Miami was. No, they wasn't. They wasn't.
was gonna say
I think Spurs was.
I know that Heat team was not at
Kawhi won in 2015 and 2016.
2015. Got
He
it.
was back-to-back DPOI.
So it was that year after he won Finals MVP. Okay, got it. No, but I think I'm with you, Joel, because Tim Duncan was still a great player. You could argue elite, just given his skill set. Tony Parker in that Finals versus the Miami Heat will always
Their
give me
highest
nightmares.
point per game score was 17.
17.
And then it went to 15, then 13, then 12, 11, 10.
I mean, their identity really wasn't
Different
offense.
I think it's a combination of the roster and just how much better you were than every other team in the league
Yeah.
at the time.
I'm with you.
And I think the Celtics, from a record standpoint,
I think that
they
that
have
argument's
blown
fair.
everybody
If
out
you want
the
to say
water.
like top 5 or top 6 net rating whenever they finish with 13 game lead or whatever it was, I think that's fair. It's
yeah,
just
because by net rating and advanced stats wise, this year's
top
Celtics
5.
are one of the greatest teams ever,
shout-
statistically.
Shout out to Coach Joe. Gets the most out of us.
Yeah, so based off that, I mean, this year San Antonio only won 3 more games than OKC. They only won 5 more games than the Clippers. So,
Well, you
It's also
2014, you're
tough
saying?
East. I'm saying the East this year not tough in terms of other teams had tough seasons with injuries. And
shit, even this
whatnot.
year, Indiana was only 6 games off.
I feel like with the Warriors pre-KD, it's hard to make the argument that they were a super team off of top-end talent, but the slogan was strength in numbers. What made you guys so overwhelmingly great was just your bench.
They were great.
And how
It was a
great
great
the
team.
bench was.
You want to say 2016 was a super team because of what they accomplished after?
That's really what.
fine.
Yes.
They didn't win, so I don't. I've never heard of a super team being labeled that they didn't win.
Winning 73 games, though,
All right, here we go. Super
That
team.
is pure
Super
dominance.
team that didn't win. The Brooklyn Nets.
That was more because of injury, though.
that was a super team. Though.
It was a super team.
Sure,
right?
but that I don't think they don't get the label because they didn't complete the mission. They just were injured. Like their super team didn't even play for real. But the idea of them was, they have Harden, they have KD, they have Kyrie.
So you think the Celtics are a super team, this current version right now? What we're seeing?
Are the Suns a super team?
When they won 65
No,
games?
he's
I'm
saying
saying-
this year.
Or right now.
KD, Devin Booker.
I've never thought highly of Bradley Beal, so I would say no.
we had that argument beginning of the season. I want to say
With Boston, you can make the argument. I could see both sides. Like you guys being so far ahead, you guys have literally 4 all-stars in your starting lineup, 2 All-NBA players. You know, you have like the East isn't good, but at the same time, you're blowing the East out. So it's like it has it. Like I would say but I can see the argument for no because like he said, the label on Tatum is he's not that good compared to the other guys. Jaylen Brown, same thing. But like Drew Holiday, Kristaps, Jaylen Brown, that's like the best starting 5 talent wise by far.
I think they have probably the best 3, 4, 5 in the NBA.
Yeah,
I think that's
so
fair.
like it's a clearing.
That's
like,
not even close, actually.
Your 4th best player is better than some team's 3rd best player.
Shit.
So